and welcome to another episode of 2 Cups of Tea and a Packet of Biscuits with myself, Tanya, and my co-host, Tracy.
Hi.
So while we talk about navigating the wild world of business and everything we've been through, we hope you're enjoying our episodes. And today we're going to be talking about the power of self-belief. But before we dive into that, Tracy, how are you and what have you been up to this week?
What have I been up to? Life, like the daily grind. It's not a grind. Life, basically. So I've got 2 boys. They're teenagers now. And my husband, your cousin, if you didn't know that already. And yeah, it's just family life is what I've been up to. Sorting the boys out for their studies and school, giving lifts to everyone. I'm like currently the taxi driver of the family.
You are, I've noticed that. Do they ever give you lifts?
They do. Well, they meaning my husband, because the boys haven't got their licenses yet. So no, my husband does give me a lift now and again when I need it. Comes to my rescue.
Ugh.
It's because it's your cousin, isn't it? Yeah. So apart from that, I'm really good, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good. Same old. I feel like I'm still in a massive turnaround of job hunting, which is fun. And yeah, just doing the day-to-day life. And that takes up most of your time. I don't know how anyone ever does a full-time job by the time you do your chores and everything. But yeah, it's same old for me. Nothing new. Do you want to start the segment?
I would, but my laptop has gone into standby, so I don't even know what I'm going to say next.
Belief matters to you.
Oh yeah. So, Tan, why does self-belief matter to you?
Oh, it's an episode like that, is it, today? Why does self-belief matter? Well, I think it plays a huge part in everything we do. I don't think without having self-belief you can actually do a lot. And I might get critics saying that's wrong, but you do need like that little bit of I can do this, no matter what it is. You can't get in a car and say I can't drive it without believing you can drive it. Obviously, you have to pass a test, but you know what I mean. So it hugely matters. I think life is hard without that part of believing in yourself, and it's very easy to forget you can do stuff. And I think the world, the life I'm living at the moment is, the joys of trying to find a job after redundancy. You do need some sort of self-belief. I think the unfortunate thing is you go through so many interviews, you think you do well, you don't hear things, and then you do get those things of, was I good? Did I say something wrong? Did I not do well? And I think I have to keep reminding myself in this state that, not everyone's going to like me, not everyone's going to think I'm going to be right for their business, and that's not a negative. It could be because I'm actually overskilled, or they might think the role is boring for me. I have had that being told to me in the past. Oh, maybe this job would be a bit boring for you. But then, I think the things I find is, well, what else should I be doing? Just tell me. Because, I've got bills to pay. This isn't free, what we're doing. This is like hard work for us. This does take up a lot of my time. But, even when it was editing, it's the first time I've started editing. I look at the episodes and I still feel there's so much more I could improve, but I was lucky enough I learned myself, and I had that belief that I could do it. Yes, I do have a creative degree in my, background, part of my experience, but it is still very different. I might have a creative eye and I might be able to do some of the software, but there is a skill to it, and that only came with that bit of self-belief. And I think the important thing I've learned in self-belief is it's not that someone tells you can do it, it's your own mind that tells you that you can do it. So yeah, I think it's really important in my life to get me through day by day. But how about for you? What about it matters to you, that self-belief?
Self-belief is not something I had much, or it's not something I thought about growing up. Um, and I didn't have much self-confidence. That goes in hand, I guess, isn't it? Self-belief and confidence. But as I'm now grown up and getting older, I have more belief in myself and more confidence, therefore. Self-belief, I think we all have it in us, but we don't always see it. Because otherwise, how would we get through day-to-day things and do the jobs we do and get on with life, just life's problems and things? Because you need some sort of belief that you can get through. I guess we don't always think of it that way. It's a label that I don't think about often. However, the times I do think about it is when maybe I'm coming to look for a new job, and I think, what can I do? I'm a teacher, but what else can I do? Can I do anything else? And then that kind of self-doubt comes into play where I don't believe in myself that I could do something else, that I don't have the capabilities. And then you have to kind of remind yourself, no, you look through your CV and you think, oh, I've done this, this, and this. Actually, I can do these things. And you start to kind of build up that belief again. I think it can be fleeting, that self-belief, depending on your situation or maybe childhood experiences that may have affected your self-belief. I know that's my case. But I do think as you get older, you're more self-assured, you get more confident and self-belief with it too. Yeah.
How do you feel you've overcome self-doubt in the past?
That's a deep question. um, I don't know. How do I feel I've overcome self-doubt? That's really hard. I think sometimes my friends might say to me, Tracy, actually, you're this type of person or you're that type of person. You can do this. And I'm like, oh yeah. And you think about those things. Um, I'll tell you what, doing yoga helps me. I know that sounds like far-fetched maybe, but it connects doing yoga, doing the breath and body work together, connects those two parts, and therefore you see yourself as a whole. And then I'm like, you feel like really confident afterwards, and you do have that self-belief. So I think that helps me. But at the moment, I can't really think of anything else. I think that's quite a tough one for me.
Are you going to ask me?
Yeah. Well, I was just like, over to you.
You're just looking at me and I'm like, am I meant to answer the same question?
I thought you wanted to say something, so I was like, okay.
It's one of our questions on the iPad.
I thought you wanted to say something before I asked you. Okay. So, okay. Deep breath. Okay. Tan, how do you overcome? No? How do you feel you've overcome self-doubt?
So, Tracy, I can answer that question, I think. I don't know. I think it's very similar to you. I think self-doubt is very hard to overcome by yourself. I think talking it out has always been a win for me. Always talking to my friends. Actually, that is the way I really overcome it. And then I actually, I might have that conversation with people who I know is going to give me the right advice that works for me. And then I kind of go away and do the things that I know I'm good at. So, at the moment, when I feel like, okay, I'm doubting myself about finding another job, I actually go away and do stuff on the podcast, I edit, because I'm like, no, I'm not, there's nothing, I've learned this skill by myself throughout the redundancy period. I didn't even know how to edit when I was in my last job, and there was like videos that we were recording, and I used to ask the guys in the team, can you teach me? And they never bothered. So to actually go, actually, I don't need your help, I can do this, those are the times that I come out and I go, no, I'm actually capable of doing a lot by myself. And actually, I'll even put it into the dating game because I'm in that world, right? And you do sometimes, you're in it and you think, no one likes me. Why am I pulling out the wrong guys? Why am I getting the attention from the ones that I don't want? That, you can just see you're only in it for one thing. And you have all these things of like, maybe I don't look like, maybe I'm not pretty enough. Maybe my personality's not great. Maybe my chat's not great. And then I come out of it, go, no, I'm a really caring person. I have good friends. I have good family. I have so much support that if someone doesn't want to be with me, that's on them. And I can happily, even though there's that fear of being by myself for the rest of my life and being childless, but then there's that other fear, like thought of, well, if I'm okay. I've survived the last 4 years by myself without a boyfriend. I will fill my house full of cats and dogs and be the crazy animal auntie. I don't care. And I do have that switch. Whether or not that sometimes benefits me, I don't know. Because I think some people would say, like some of my friends, like, you do need to push yourself to go and date. And I'm like, no, I don't want to put myself in that position. But that's what I mean. It plays in both ways because sometimes you can be so, I'm okay, that you then forget the things that actually you might actually need a little bit of. So it's trying to find the balance, isn't it, really?
As you were talking, I found a lot of things. I was like, wow, you find ways to believe in yourself. And, when you asked me the question, I said I found it difficult. I was thinking, why am I finding it difficult? And I think it's because I need to work on my self belief. I know it's something my friends have noticed. And also, I use my friends or I've had an appraisal recently and my boss said I'm doing really well. And I'm like, oh, good. And I get my confirmation from them. But really, I think it needs to be not external, but internal, intrinsically motivated. Maybe that's what I need to work on. I'm thinking now. And I'm wondering if the listeners or viewers, if they've got any tips, tricks, hints for me or anyone else who's listening, it might help me or you might help someone else who's reading them. As we said in the last episode, I'd like to build that community where we can feel we have a safe space to voice our opinions and share some really valuable things.
I think it comes with, that the whole imposter syndrome. I think the only reason I've probably maybe recognized some things is I did bring in some external coaches into my previous company. We had a talk on imposter syndrome because I massively felt it in my last job role. I went from an executive assistant role into a manager role, and actually I came out of it going, I never want to be a manager again. But you get imposter syndrome in a lot of things in life, right? And it's, really listening to yourself and understanding, well, actually listing out what you're good at, really looking, like you said, internally and seeing, well, I know I'm capable of those things, but it did take me a long time. So I wouldn't be, putting that pressure on yourself to going, well, why am I not doing it? Or I need to do this, because it took me years to get to the place I'm at. But I probably think for me, I'm maybe a bit too not over self-believing or anything like that, but maybe I'm too used to being on my own. And that's why I kind of maybe push people away at points, because I'm like, well, I don't need you. If you're going to be like this and you hit my boundary, then I don't want you. But I think sometimes I can be a bit harsh with that boundary setting. And I think there is that with self-belief as well, is actually valuing your boundaries, knowing what your boundaries and your values are for yourself as a person, right? Because when that gets hit, then that is a knock on your self-belief. So it's bouncing back from that.
Yeah. And, I think that's really important what you're saying about boundaries. I think that's probably another good thing to talk about on the podcast is boundaries. It's a big it's a big topic that we could talk about. I also thought suddenly that when the boys are younger, every family meal, I try and get them to would take turns around the table saying one thing they're grateful for, one thing they're proud of themselves for, and one thing they've learned that day. And I'm thinking I should start that up again because it won't just help them because I put it in place for them, but actually it'd really help me and the whole family, you know, my husband as well. So that's something people could do is just try and put that into practice where you think about good things that you've done about or the good things about yourself, things that you're proud of, and try and do that as a daily thing that could really be of use. Yeah. So, right, what have we learned from this episode? Well, I've learned that there's many ways to build up your self-belief. I think that it also comes with age and confidence. Um, what else have we learned? What have you learned, Tan?
The summarized learning's your part, right?
I know, but should I start that again?
I'm not cutting it.
Come on.
Joys of an unedited in the middle podcast. I think the thing that we're really learning on self-belief is don't be so harsh on yourself. I think, you know, everyone makes mistakes. That's everyday life. And you are always going to have down days. But just picking up that phone or, you know, looking at what you're good at, appreciate like a bit of a gratitude thing that we spoke in the last episode. Write down the things that you're good at, and if someone doesn't recognize that, maybe there is that question of like, okay, I'm going to ignore what that person says, or you know, as for me, I'm a serial blocker. I'll block the person, but it's just, you know, taking time and not putting that pressure on, like thinking that you can't do something, and just owning who you are. I think, you know.
Yeah. I felt that was very wise words from you, Tan, and I was really listening to that and thinking, yeah, really.
Wow. Call me wise. On that note, shall we go to the game?
Yes, please. Please. Let's something a bit more lighthearted and fun.
So, our game is called Confidence Chain. Oh my God, I've messed it up. No, here it is. Okay, so the rules. So, the rules are that the first person starts by complimenting or celebrating someone.
She's done it again.
Let me start again.
And what did you say? Sorry, about this is an unedited thing. We can't
Unedit it or edit it. Oh my God. Sorry for our listeners if you're listening. If you're viewing, it's quite humorous. The rules of the game. The first person starts by complimenting or celebrating something that they admire about another person. And in this case, I'll be reading Trace some compliments and she'll be doing the same. And from that, we're meant to say for ourselves, if we feel like it, one thing we're proud of ourselves. So I've got 3 compliments. Do we do like one each like that?
I think so.
Do you want me to start or?
I'd like to start.
Okay, go on then.
Tanya.
Sounds like a. Let's read the book.
I admire your determination and hard work to see your project from start to finish. For example, our business, this podcast, and the social media. And the reason I've said that is because to our listeners, they don't know behind the scenes, but you are working damn hard on this, morning till night, sometimes till past midnight. You know, it's not been easy because it's a learning curve for you. It's not like you've done this before, but you're doing ever so well. And even though there's all these bumps along the road, technical hitches, literally, you're really overcoming them and jumping up past all those hurdles.
Oh, thanks. I've realised I really hate compliments. I felt really icky. I was like, stop talking about me. I don't like it. Whose game choice was this?
Yours?
Okay, Tracy.
Bailey, don't. Sorry, Bailey's stepping on the laptop. Don't do that.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're an amazing parent, managing your career, your business, and still being there for your kids. It's so inspiring to see.
Oh,
That made me a bit emotional.
yeah.
For me today, I feel like a bit of, ugh.
That was very nice.
I'm very nice.
You are. And so am I, according to your compliment. Okay. Why did you choose this game? I mean,
No, it feels so, ugh.
how about cheese?
It is. We're not doing a game like this again.
Yeah, please. Okay, Tanya.
Oh, God.
Okay. I admire you. I feel like you should be holding an award or something, Pride of Britain or something. Okay, Tanya, I admire your courage. Sorry, I can't do this. You're making me laugh. Okay. Deep breath. Okay, deep breath. Okay. Okay.
We're so sorry to our listeners. If you're listening, you're just listening to people laughing.
I really think you should cut some of this because it's really. I'm like laughing like Muttley the dog. Do you know Muttley?
Don't. Oh my God.
Okay, I'll do this quickly.
My face hurts.
Admire your courage and openness on the podcast, as I know it's not the most comfortable situation to be in.
I wasn't listening.
And for the people who didn't see that, Tanya just threw a bunny rabbit across the room, not a live one. A soft toy.
For Bailey, and now we're playing tug of war.
Okay, your turn. Or do you want me to read it again because you didn't actually hear it?
No, it's okay. I'm sure the listeners will hear it.
I'm telling you again. I admire your courage and openness on the podcast.
This is a horrendous episode for anyone listening. This is a bad episode. We're continuing.
We're not re-recording this.
No.
Okay.
This is the reality. This is what they signed up for.
Okay. I admire your courage and openness on the podcast, as I know it's not the most comfortable situation to be in.
Why was that funny?
I just can't stop laughing now because you're playing tug with Bailey as I'm giving you a compliment. It's really weird.
Right, ready? Okay, Tracy, your creativity and creative ideas, the ideas you come up with are just brilliant and I love them.
Thank you.
See, you didn't laugh at that.
No, I didn't. All right. Tanya, I admire how you handle life's challenges with strength and perseverance and composure. You just actually shuddered there, didn't you?
Tracy. It's literally like we're reading wedding vows.
Oh, God.
That's that, and they've got their little, and it sounds so icky. So,
why did you choose this game? I mean, it's really. Oh, okay.
Tracy, the way you handle challenges with so much grace and patience.
Thank you.
You can stick these in a frame and put it up.
Okay.
There you go. Well, you wrapping up the episode so I don't have to.
Yeah, okay, so thank you so much for sitting through this mess of an episode. We had fun. I don't know whether you did. I hope you did. I just want to say thank you to all our listeners and people who like, subscribe and comment on our things. We really appreciate your support. Without you, I don't think we can carry on, to be honest. So please like this episode on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Like us on YouTube if you actually watched us. We are on Instagram, TikTok, social media, here, there, and everywhere. Wherever you find us, just like, subscribe, follow. Don't follow us in person, just online. And please just support us. We'd really appreciate that.
Don't send us compliments because we clearly don't like them. But don't send us hate either because we won't like that either.
So send us compliments, but non-cheesy.
Yeah, we're not with the cheese.
Yeah.
The cheese is not.
However, I do like cheese.
Anyway, on that note, sorry. Let's wrap up the episode. Time is of the essence.
So that's us from blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Keeping that in as well. Thank you for joining us, and you have been listening. We have been listening.
Okay.
We can't wrap this up. You've been listening to
2 cups of tea and a packet of biscuits. Bye.
Bye.